Honda has found a new F1 team for 2026. Honda has regularly teased fans with their exit from Formula 1. However, the Japanese engine manufacturers have remained part of the sport and helped produce great champions in Max Verstappen and Sabastein Vertel in recent years. Honda was a team behind Max Verstappen's champion-winning performance in 2021. Although the Tokyo-based company stepped away from the sport in an official capacity 2 years ago, they are still partners with Red Bull. However, their only partner has teamed up with Ford, so the company may not have a buyer for their engines in 2026. F1 fans know this, and Honda knows it too, so they have taken steps to have a new buyer in the shape of Aston Martin. So, let's find out what this partnership implies. Honda's presence in F1. Honda has been a part of F1 for over 6 decades. The company has enjoyed a remarkable success and few regrettable moments in that time. Their most recent stint in the sport lasted 6 years and officially ended in 2021. It started with a forgettable partnership with McLaren in 2015, which brought little success and ended in bitter separation. However, their stint ended with Max Verstappen winning the championship with a Honda-powered Red Bull. The win was significant because it happened a few months after Honda announced their exit from the sport. It was a slight shock to many fans and enthusiasts because their exit coincided with when they had cracked the engine formula and were about to reap huge rewards. Nonetheless, they left one foot at the door by unofficially maintaining the work with Red Bull cars. Therefore, their company didn't get recognized for their work and investments in Red Bull since 2021. Although many people were upset by their decisions, they had their reasons. The early days of pain had affected the board, and the big sums of money spent every year on the project were embarrassing for them. Formula 1 is a lucrative sport, but engine makers value prestige and technical innovations over money. Manufacturers that end up on the losing side often suffer because they get the opposite of prestige. Also, a change in the leadership of Honda implied that F1 was no longer a priority for those in charge. However, their culture doesn't allow them to let people down, so Honda continued to support Red Bull as the race team built their power unit division. But some board members wanted to remain in F1, especially as fortunes changed. But those in this group, competing in the top categories of motorsport, is what Honda represents. As F1 started plans to reform the engine formula in 2026, focusing more on electrification, battery power, and sustainable fuel, Honda realized that their intentions synchronized with those managing the sport. So the boomerang started towards F1 again through the Honda Racing Corporation, or HRC brand. First, the HRC took an observer role in the 2026 proposed regulations. Then it began increasing its brand exposure with Red Bull, which saw the racing company's power unit remain Honda HBPT. Their in and out stance with F1 made Red Bull lose interest in the partnership. The best way to understand why Honda remains an attractive option for a partner to any team is to study Aston Martin and Mercedes-Benz relationship. Aston Martin purchases all their engines from Mercedes, a partnership that began in 2009. Mercedes designed the perfect engine for their cars and sold it for an agreed price set by the FIA to different teams. The engine shape, which implies how all the parts combine, including the gearbox and drivetrain, is determined by Mercedes-Benz. This arrangement significantly impacts how the rear of the vehicle is put together. Since the start of the 2022 season, the Mercedes engine has been constructed to fit zero-side pod design, and the rear suspension setup the company wanted to use with that design. Therefore, the Aston Martin's design are controlled by Mercedes, which is something only some F1 designers want. Also, Mercedes decides on the engine that comes from the factory. F1 engines are different and each has its limitations. That's why one can produce more power than another or is more durable. Although the differences are marginal, it is essential in F1, and it means Aston Martin is disadvantaged compared to Mercedes even as they use an identical engine. It is not something Aston Martin's owner, Lawrence Stroll, would be happy about for a long time. And that is why the anticipated partnership with Honda makes perfect sense. First, it would help Aston Martin make the next stride they desire because they would have an engine supplier working with the design team to produce the kind of engine they want. In addition, they would get the fastest and most durable engines from the factory. Although it is less than manufacturing your own engine, Aston Martin will get the next best thing, more than a speculation. The rumor linking Honda to many F1 teams began almost as they lost Red Bull as a buyer. So, what makes the partnership with Aston Martin different? Well, recent reports from multiple media sources say that Honda will return and link up with Aston Martin. Also, Aston Martin choosing to ditch Mercedes implies they already have an engine supplier in mind, which is unsurprising. Although Honda can sell engines to different teams, with Aston Martin getting in first, you should expect them to have a say on how the engines are made and possibly get first dibs on engines that come off the factory, which is one of their main objectives. In addition, it allows Aston Martin to become a champion contender. Aston Martin has watched from the sidelines for over a decade as Mercedes, Red Bull, and Ferrari dominated F1. Although some argue that those teams had great drivers, the engine of their cars helped enhance their chances of becoming champions. Also, it offers Honda an opportunity to showcase its hybrid engine technology and solidify its reputation as an eco-friendly automaker. Also, the Tokyo-based automaker will have a chance to redeem itself after ending its partnership with Red Bull and AlphaTauri abruptly. Another advantage of the proposed coalition between Honda and Aston Martin is cost savings for both companies. Building an F1 engine is an expensive project and time-consuming too. A smaller team like Aston Martin would need help overcoming such a budget burden. A partnership with a corporation like Honda could help them avoid the high cost of manufacturing an engine and help them focus on other areas of car design and performance. Finally, a partnership between Honda and Aston Martin could shake up the current engine supplier hierarchy, which Mercedes, Ferrari, and Renault dominate. It could lead to a more competitive and diverse grid, which is good for the fans. There are several hurdles to overcome before a partnership between Aston Martin and Honda becomes real, because an agreement would depend on a range of factors, including the team's resources, objectives, and long-term ambitions. But if both parties can agree to work together, it would be one of the most interesting developments in F1 in recent times. Typically, fans of the sport are eager to hear any further developments on the story, and it will be intriguing to witness how the partnership between the two unfolds in the coming months and years. Overall, the anticipated partnership between both companies is still in the primary stage, and it is too early to know whether the two parties will reach an agreement. And there is still an issue of Fernando Alonso being disliked in Japan after his criticism of Honda during their tour with McLaren. That chaotic relationship hit its lowest ebb when the driver called the Honda engine a GP2 engine in the company's home race in Japan in 2015. However, Alonso may have retired by 2026 since he would turn 44 years old. Can Aston Martin challenge for the World Championships with a Honda engine? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section. If you like this video, subscribe to the channel for more updates and hit notifications so you don't miss any fresh videos on the channel. See you in the next one. Bye.